So, what do you do when you feel just so overwhelmed with life, with family, with everything going on in your life, and you feel like you just have no time? You feel like life is passing by like 100 miles an hour, and you feel like you don't have any control of time. You don't have any time because you have so many things to do. You say to yourself, is it possible to learn languages in this condition, in these circumstances? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to make my video on today. I want to talk about it because this is exactly how I've been feeling the last few years. And of course, as you can see, I've had to take a break on this channel and literally any language related stuff. And I have already explained this in a bit of detail in my last video, but for those who haven't seen it, basically I've just been adulting. So many things on my plate, so many responsibilities, so many things to pay for, so many people to support. I sometimes don't feel like I have time for myself. And not only that, but I also feel like I don't have time for my hobbies and things that give me joy in life. This stuff had to take a step back because of all my responsibilities and things I've had to do. These last few years of being so busy and being so overwhelmed and being so stressed all the time had led me to feel a little bit of bitterness inside me, feeling of being very resentful. And because of this, I've decided to make changes in my life to have a better balanced lifestyle, but also tackle the question, is it possible to learn a language when you're super, super busy? That is really what I want to talk about, like I said. And I want to share with you in this video some of the strategies, some of the things I've been doing, some of the mental notes I've had to take and tell myself to remind me that we need to have a balance. For me, language learning has always been such a staple in my life. It has always given me joy. Learning a language has always been an escape from the stress in my life and the circumstances in my life. And without doing that these last few years, literally, I have been really unhappy with that. And that's why I really wanted to share this video, because I know a lot of people really find themselves in the same shoes as me. A lot of people want to learn languages or whatever hobby they want, they want to do it, but they have a struggle in doing so. And trust me, I have gone through this struggle and I'm continuing to go through this struggle, and I'm still learning. And I know a lot of the solutions and things I will share in this video are not definite, clear solutions that solve everything, but they're definitely more reflections that I've had and realizations that I've had throughout this time that I really do want to share with someone, because I know someone out there, a lot of you, will maybe get something from this video, I hope. So let's get right into the video. So number one is to create a realistic schedule with no pressure. It's really a mix of both. Here's how I think of it. A lot of people have this concept that language learning takes a lot of time. You should be going to school, you should be taking classes, you should be spending a lot of money, you should be studying 2 hours a day, 7 days a week. This idea was what I used to think, because I literally used to do that. And my peak, when I was learning a lot of languages, that was when I was in university. And I was literally studying languages. I was studying linguistics. I was studying like languages. I was having a very different lifestyle. Like I used to travel. I used to be in circles. I would be doing language exchanges. I would be literally surrounded with people learning languages as well. I was in a completely different stage of my life. And as soon as I graduated, I had tried to keep that up. I used to have time to study a lot. Like I used to block time to study. I used to block time to do certain activities. And of course, when life hits you and you start to do things, that was no longer possible, after I graduated. I was putting pressure on myself based on a circumstance in my life that used to be but no longer was. And I never adapted to the current state of my life. I never adapted it to a realistic schedule or even a manageable schedule. So the first thing I would suggest to you is to do something realistic and be consistent. Language learning does take time. There's absolutely no one who could say otherwise. Of course, there's things to make language learning quicker. There are strategies to help you do that. But at the end of the day, you do need time. You need energy. You need to block a realistic time frame. And for me, if 30 minutes is all I have in a day, it's 30 minutes. If 15 minutes is all I have in a day, then it will be 15 minutes. The key is being consistent, but also being realistic with your circumstance and your personal situation. For me, I just completely stopped learning for how many years? And I just expected myself to wait for a time in my life where I can go back to what I was, where I had the time, I had the energy, and I'm still waiting for that time. The time passes by. I just felt this really strong sense of regret and bitterness and being resentful to myself over these last few years for just not giving myself that time and giving myself a realistic schedule with no pressure. When I say no pressure, it means that, you know what, if you miss a day or two, you don't have to feel bad. Like, you really don't, because life is life. And the second thing I would like to talk about is your why. Like, why are you learning these languages, right? Again, these things are all realizations I've had after I graduated university, and now I'm in the real world doing things, and these things have never really come to my head before, but now I'm like, oh, okay. And one of them is your why. You know, for me back in the day, I studied languages in university, like full time, and I was doing jobs that needed languages full time. And that was really what I was breathing, what I was exposed to every day. When I look back at it, I did not even have a clear why and why I wanted to do things. Or maybe I forgot the why, but I knew I had to do it. So when I graduated, I finally got my degree. I finally did all of these courses and all of these things, and I'm now thrown into real life. I'm like, why would I need to learn languages? Right? Why would I need to prove myself, you know? In university, I used to have courses on reading, writing, speaking to a very high level of French. And I used to, block time out of my day to prepare for these classes and, prepare to speak well, to write well, to express myself well, and all of that. But when I graduated and I started working, I did not see the connection between learning languages and why I'm learning languages. Why are you learning this? Before, I just felt forced to because that was what I felt like I had to do. But now I'm in an environment, I'm in a job that absolutely has nothing to do with any languages whatsoever, maybe a little bit, but not really. I now live in the suburbs where I barely use the languages I learned. And that leads me to environment. You know, environment and your why are two different things, but are also related. Why are you learning this language? Like, seriously, I had to think of myself and understand why I was doing this. And because of my break, I kind of lost the why. Once I sat down and thought about this, and I really started to think, my why was always traveling and seeing the world and experiencing the world in such a different way. And unfortunately, because I was so busy in the last few years, and of course, what happened in 2020, 2021, I had completely lost track of all of that. All of these plans I had to travel, to go to this country and that country, it had all been forgotten. Lately, I've just been doing something called vision boards. I don't know if you've heard of it, but like I've just started making vision boards of myself for myself and telling myself, you will one day have the opportunity to travel to Colombia, to travel to Spain, Italy, and all of these countries that I have really done so much research on, I know so much about. And when it comes to motivation, I literally didn't have any because I was so stuck in that rat race. I was so stuck in my daily, what do I need to do? I was like in survival mode, okay? And all of this was thrown out. If you're in this situation, let me tell you that for me, I'm so glad I had the realization to tell myself, like, you can't keep doing this. Because I started getting really depressed. I started getting like physically ill like last year and the year before. That was because of burnout and stress. And also a big part of it was because I wasn't doing things that make me happy. I wasn't doing things that give me joy. But when I go back to environment and why, they're linked together, right? So one of the questions I ask myself is why? I have a vision, like I said, I have a vision board, but I also try to tell myself what kind of environment would I want to be in the next year, in the next 5 years, in 10 years from now. What kind of environment and how will language learning get me there? That was the question that really got me going. Like, I said to myself, how do I want to incorporate languages? Where do I want to travel? What do I want to experience in life? Who are the people I want to meet? How will language learning get me to that? Right? So for me, I've always wanted to go to Catalonia, like to Catalonia, because I've always been learning Catalan, and I've always been wanting to visit Portugal, but I've never had the opportunity. Having that on my vision board, having that realization that I might want to spend a year in Portugal to work or whatever, having that possibility of like, this lifestyle could be possible for you if you continue to learn languages, you know? This could be possibly the lifestyle or the things you could achieve or things you can experience when you take your language learning seriously and maybe open yourself up to more opportunities that way. And my therapist has been really helpful in this because she's asked me, well, what do you want to experience in life? Like literally she asked me, what do you want to experience in this lifetime? And that kind of question really took me back because I have just been like this. I've just been like blindsided and so focused on survival mode that I have completely lost any vision. The third point I want to make about environment is that it is so important. Part of the reason I'm so unmotivated in learning languages is because I look at my environment. I live in the suburbs. I live in a very residential area. My job does not really require multiple languages. None of my business requires multiple languages. I'm just so detached from needing that, and so detached from a community or people or friends that love languages as much as I do. I live in a very monolingual area where people just don't have the motivation, not even the motivation, but like they don't have the desire to learn a new language. Perhaps they want to travel, but they don't really want to go that extra mile and experience life with another language in their repertoire, you know? So I said to myself, you know, I think I need to find people who have the same interests as me, which was the case when I was in university. I had plenty of friends that I had the same passion as me and same interests and hobbies. But now that I'm adulting, I really struggled with that. I'm trying to go on Meetup, this website I used to use. I'm trying to find people who I can practice languages with. I'm trying to find people that love languages as much as I do, who also have a similar vision. And I'm still honestly trying to figure this out. I'm still trying to get my bearings, find like-minded people, but it's honestly been a struggle. Honestly, the other tip I have is the use of AI. This is groundbreaking. The use of AI is like literally life-changing, monumental. It's literally the one thing that has really, really, really gotten me back. Okay, I want to make another video on this and how to use AI efficiently as a language learner, but it has automated so many things for me in terms of languages, and I never believed this. I used to think, you know, AI will never, you know, help me because I was stuck in my ways of, you know, I'm very old school. I have books, I have dictionaries, like that's how I used to do things. But I've been trying it out, and AI can explain a lot of things. Let me tell you, it could explain, if you give it a sentence, it could literally explain so much. And I have gone back to learning Russian, which for me takes so much time and energy to do, because you gotta find what this case is, what the verb aspect and the different forms of the verb, and what does this verb mean, and what is the, you know, Russian is extremely difficult for a native English speaker because you literally have to look at everything. You have to look at literally 100 things. And for me, to be able to read a text in Russian, like a dialogue in Russian, and try to like learn from it, the amount of time is mostly spent looking at online dictionaries, looking at different forums online to see why is this sentence structure this way, and why is this verb aspect used in this way, and how this verb is used in XYZ context, and which different contexts it's used. And there's like so much energy to learn Russian. But with AI, I literally put the sentence in the chat, and ChatGPT literally like tells me why this is used in this way, and what context is this verb or this word is used in, why this, why that, instead of me having to spend so much time looking online and figuring out and being like a detective. I have no time to be a detective. Before, it used to be all fun and games. I find it very intriguing and fun, but now it's a question of time and efficiency. And AI has really automated that process for me, where I literally just kind of plot a sentence or whatever, and it will explain why things are the way they are, basically. And that has saved so much time. And what used to take 5 hours now takes 30 minutes. And like I said before, if you dedicate 30 minutes a day with the use of AI, and have a decent schedule like that, my 30 minutes has been so fruitful. It's been so productive. And now I'm at the stage in my life where I'm like, what is my vision? What does my realistic schedule look like? What do I want to do with these languages? AI. I'm at the crossroads of all of these things at once, and I'm like, is this a new chapter? Am I like revealing a new chapter in my life? And I just want to share this with you because this is probably the best time to learn a language. I am not joking. This is like the gold rush, I would say, of language learning. You have AI, the internet. You have people on the internet you could connect with. This is the best time to network with people and learn languages and travel and do all these cool things, right? So you're at probably the stage in your life where this is possible. Because 3 years ago, if I were to make the same video, I literally would not have been able to. But AI has done an extremely good job of breaking things down for me and definitely making the language learning easier and more efficient in less time. I'm going to make a new video on this. I'm so excited. Like, there's just so much to say. All of this really has shifted my mindset to the point where I just need a different perspective on things. I just need to work at the pace and work at what I have now, work with what I have now, and just go about it. This video has been a bit hard to make because I've been super busy with life as per usual, but making videos like this really gives me hope of some change in my life and hopefully in yours as well. And like I said, I'm documenting this for the journey. I'm being super real and super vulnerable, and the journey is not always, smooth. So definitely this is like a rough patch. But hopefully this rough patch, helps people too. And like I said, the purpose of this channel was to be a community where I get to share just what I'm going through and what I feel. And thank you all for your support and watching. Especially if you're watching to the very end, you are so, so kind to do so. Thank you for your support and hope to see you soon. Ciao.